Hi, I'm Andrew, and welcome to episode 3 of the Neon Knitter podcast. So, I've got a couple finished objects for you guys this week, or this month, and I've got a couple of whips for you guys this month, and some acquisitions. And sorry it took me so long to get episode 3 out. I just last week was sick. I was sick a couple weeks ago, but my voice is finally 100%. And it's not that my voice was terrible, just that if I talk for extended periods of time, I'd find myself clearing my throat. So now that my voice is 100%, I'm clearing my throat a little less, then yeah, so if you hear me clearing my throat, that's why, because I was just sick. But I was only sick for 4 days, and then it's back to stuff, so, but it is what it is. So I'm going to start with the elephant in the room, my Drangy sweater. It's finished. It took me about a month to do, and I'm going to show it to you as best as I can. So here is the, what do you call it? The waistband. I don't know what to call it, but it's got that pattern on it, and so do the sleeve cuffs. Got the same pattern. And then the yoke has this stripe pattern, which is kind of textural because these are garter ridges in the main color here. And then the body's done in stockinette stitch. And then I'm going to turn around to the back and show you guys the collar. Move my hair out of the way so you can see it, but there's a collar back here. Done in the contrast color. Actually in the pattern it's listed as A and B. A being the main and B being the contrast. But yeah. So I knit this out of Barocco Avanti. I did not think to grab the yarn labels, sorry, but Barocco Avanti is an old vintage yarn. The only pattern I could find on the entire Ravelry was from a 1983 issue of Vogue Knitting. I'm sorry if when I showed you my in progress of this sweater in episode 2, I know I said this yarn was from 1984. I was wrong, I looked it up, that pattern is from 1983. The pattern that calls for this yarn. So that's how I could figure out how old this yarn was, because I bought it on eBay. Again, it's Barocco Avanti. I don't remember the color numbers, but Drangy did not call for this yarn, it called for Brooklyn Tweed. But that was how I was able to figure out about how old this yarn is. So, this is Drangy by Stephen West. Did not call for this yarn, but I used this yarn. So, yeah. Alright, I only have one more finished object for you guys, and then I will move on to whips. So I'm not going to model these for you guys, but I'll insert pictures. I finished my watermelon socks finally. I only started them back in February, and it is now December, so finally finished my watermelon socks. Super happy with them. And I will insert pictures on the screen. Sorry if the ribbing is a little stretched out. It's for 2 reasons. One, because it goes past my knees when I wear them. And 2, I actually had them balled up like a pair of socks, like when you put them in your sock drawer. So I had them balled up like this. So yeah, that's why it's kind of stretched out. But anyways, so I made it using Artistic Yarns by Abby, her watermelon self-striping sock yarn. So yeah, that's what the inside looks like, because that's the pearl bump side of the fabric. But yeah, I'll insert pictures on the screen of me wearing them with my watermelon shoes. So yeah. So that is it for finished objects. We're going to move on to whips. I'm going to start with about the saddest whip I have going, which is my twists and turns. Spoiler alert, if you're still not done, I am still on clue 3. Yeah, I'm still on clue 3. I've only put like, what, 5 rows on it, maybe? And that's not a lot, seeing as how many stitches are in here. I'm still on the first half of clue 3. I haven't really worked on it. I haven't been motivated to do it. So yeah, that's where I'm at with twists and turns. So I don't even know if it was worth showing you guys, because I didn't make literally any progress other than like a couple rows. When I finish clues 3 and 4, I'll still try to do my clues 3 and 4 videos, and I'll still put in the beginning of the video that there's a spoiler. But you know, I'm embracing my own pace. I hopefully will get it done before the hibernate along starts. If not, this is a small enough stitch count that I can put it on a holder and do my hibernate along. So yeah, and then my next whip, which has been getting a lot of love, is my bubble sweater. This is a project I started a couple of years ago. Well, I don't know if I'd say a couple of years ago. Maybe 2021 I started it, I think. Yeah, I don't know if it's 2020 or 2021 that I started this. Anyways, I had it sitting in a big huge heap in the corner of my room. It got all tangled, and I finally decided, you know what, we're gonna untangle this and work on it. And so I untangled it like right before I finished my Drangy sweater, and it has been 2 weeks ago that I finished this Drangy sweater. So this sweater was finished 2 weeks ago, so yeah. But here's my bubble sweater. Again, I don't know what I did with the yarn labels, so excuse me on that, but yeah, so actually no, I might have my yarn labels here. This is in my Madeline Tosh project bag. I got this bag at Flax and Fleece in Sauk City, Wisconsin. And no, I don't have the yarn labels in there. Okay, I'll just tell you about the yarn, which I also got at Flax and Fleece in Sauk City, Wisconsin. I believe I bought the bag the same day I bought the yarn, but anyways. I am knitting this out of Madeline Tosh Farm Twist. It's a DK weight yarn. It's basically 2 strands of Tosh Merino Light plied together. So 2 single ply fingerings plied together. That's what it is basically. But yeah, this is Madeline Tosh Farm Twist. The orange is my contrast color, and that is called Citrus. And that's one of the colors that you can still get. The blue is discontinued. I'll tell you about it in a second, but there is a very extremely similar shade of blue that Madeline Tosh still does called Arctic that you could get if you wanted to try to duplicate my sweater. Or if you just like the combo and wanted to do it on something else. But the particular shade of blue I have is discontinued. And Flax and Fleece happen to have 7 skeins of it. I only need 6, but I bought all 7 because I'm like, well, so help me if I actually need a 7th one, because I won't be able to get more later. And this particular shade of blue is called Ex-Boyfriend. Yeah, I know it's called Ex-Boyfriend. Usually I don't, when people ask me what I'm making or whatever, usually I don't stop to tell non-knitters, and this is only something I tell people I know, but I won't just tell this to random strangers at all, but usually I don't stop to tell non-knitters like the name of my yarns, but I think it's really fun to tell people that this blue is called Ex-Boyfriend. So I do actually take the time to tell people, hey, I'm knitting with Ex-Boyfriend yarn, because it's really fun. So yeah, so that blue is called Ex-Boyfriend and the orange is called Citrus. Haven't worked on that in a minute, so it's been nice to work on. And then my final whip, which is also going to tie into acquisitions, because my final whip is with some acquisitions that I got in the past month. So today is Sunday, so it's exactly 1 week till Christmas. And back on Tuesday, I went to Stephen B. and bought some yarn to knit Outer Space by Stephen West, which, if you're not familiar with it, if you're familiar with Enchanted Mesa, it is basically the super bulky version of Enchanted Mesa. And it's a sweater, but it's kind of really weird. The yoke almost reminds me of Dotted Rays, kind of. I don't know. But anyways, here it is. I'll tell you about the yarns in a second, because that will be the first acquisition I talk about, even though chronologically it's the last one. But I started this on Wednesday. It's Sunday, and I've already gotten this far. I am all done with the light gray, all done with the green, and I'm just on the dark gray now before I switch to my final color, which I'll tell you about in a second. So yeah, it's a really funky sweater. I'll put a picture of what it's supposed to look like on the screen. But yeah, it's probably about the most unique sweater I've made, and I thought Extra Texture was unique. But yeah, so I'm loving this. So yeah, so the yarns I'm using is Malabrigo Rasta. The green is called Apple Green. The light gray is called Whole Grain, and then the dark gray is called Sombras, Sombras. And then there's one more color that's going to go on the bottom. So the weird thing about this sweater is colors A, B, and C are a super bulky weight yarn, and then color D is an Aran weight yarn. Now the pattern calls for Quince & Co. Puffin and Quince & Co. Finch. I think it was Finch. I don't know. Anyways, Puffin is a single ply super bulky, and Finch is a 3-ply Aran. So it's all based on my color D, but color D is the 3-ply Aran weight. So it's going to be this royal purple. And this is Madeline Tosh TML Triple Twist, which is 3 strands of Tosh Merino light plied together. But yeah, this is TML Triple Twist in the color Ultramarine Violet. So that's going to go on the very bottom here. I have about 20 rounds left of the gray before I move on to the purple. And because of the weird askewed shape of the sweater, I have only split for the left sleeve. And once I'm done with the gray, before I move on to the purple, I split for the right sleeve, because this is at kind of a cocked angle. And then when I do the purple, there's some short row action and garter stitch, and it like evens it out to make it square. I don't know. It's weird. Especially if you download the pattern and then look at the diagram of it, it's like really weird. So yeah, definitely the most unique sweater I've made. And my biggest concern or worry with wearing this sweater is when I put my coat on, because of how low the sleeves are, and it's just kind of a weird sweater in general. But yeah, I'm loving it. I think it's going to be really fun, instantly gratifying, which is why I cast it on immediately. Normally I don't cast things on quite that quickly after buying the yarn, but yeah, so next time you see me, hopefully I will be wearing it. Unless I have another FO that I'm wearing for whatever reason, but I'm sure this is probably what I'll be wearing in episode 4, but who knows. I also did not get gauge, my sense is that Rasta is probably a little bit thicker than Puffin. Quincy & Co. Puffin is probably a little thinner than Malabrigo Rasta, but anyways. Yeah, so the pattern says to use size 15 needles for the super bulky, and then go down to a size 11 for the ribbing on the neckline. And then when you use your Aran weight, go down to a 10.5. I didn't get gauge on either yarns, so I got gauge on a 13 with this Rasta, with the super bulky yarn, and so going down 2 needle sizes to do the neckline, I went down to a 7mm needle, or a US 10.75, and I didn't get gauge on a 10.5 with this yarn. I got gauge on a 10.75 or 7mm needle. So I'm actually only using 2 different needle sizes because of how I got gauge. So yeah. And then the other thing is, I already had this yarn, the purple. I originally bought this. I have 3 skeins of it, which is what I need for this sweater. It's perfect. I originally bought this to knit the Mesure Plastique by Stephen West, which is a sweater. Here, I'll put a picture on the screen. Mesure Plastique. It's got a 3-color fade, monochromatic fade on the body and one of the sleeves, and then the other sleeve, and then the neckline is a color pop. And my yarns, it's 3 different shades of brown, and then I'm going to pop it with purple. I got the Hobby Lobby's I Love This Wool, which was listed as an Aran on Ravelry. I think it should have been listed as a worsted instead, but that's just me. TML Triple Twist is a true Aran weight, and so I got gauge with the TML Triple Twist. I got gauge 2 needle sizes bigger on the I Love This Wool. But because most of my yarn is the I Love This Wool, what's going to end up happening is I have to knit both of my sleeves on 2 different needle sizes. And if you know me, I like doing 2 at a time sleeves. And even if I did 1 at a time sleeves, if the pattern doesn't originally say to knit sleeve 1 on a size 10 needle and sleeve 2 on a size 8 needle, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try to knit them both on the same needle size. So I'm going to try again and go 1 yarn down and get the Madeline Tosh Vintage. And I haven't decided yet if I'm going to go with Ultramarine Violet or if I'm going to go with one of Stephen B's custom colors called Moxie. Not getting it because it's the Stephen B custom color, but because it's another shade of Royal Purple, just 1 shade lighter. I haven't decided yet because this purple's going to be in this sweater, and I don't know if I want 2 sweaters with the same shade of purple in them, but yeah, so I'm going to go down 1 yarn weight to worsted instead of Aran. Now if I were knitting the whole sweater out of TML Triple Twist, would have been perfect, but I got the more budget-friendly yarn for the majority of my sweater. Sorry, yarn fiber in my mouth. But I couldn't find a budget-friendly Aran weight or worsted weight Royal Purple that wasn't acrylic, so I had to get the hand-dyed one. But anyways, so that's how come that yarn ended up being in this sweater. I don't know that I would have picked such a bright color pop on the bottom, seeing as Steven picked navy for his on the very bottom, had I not already had that in my stash. But I needed to find a project for it because I'm going to go down to a worsted for the other sweater, so hopefully I can also get gauge 2 needle sizes bigger. But yeah, so that's so far where I'm at with that. So the TML Triple Twist is not a new acquisition, but all the Rasta is. So the other 3 colors in this sweater are acquisitions. Then I got an order from the fiber company. This finally came at the end of November, and I ordered it back in August. So it was about time that it arrived. I don't know why Fiber Company couldn't have just shipped it from their UK warehouse to my house here in Minnesota when they didn't have any at the US warehouse. Because what they did is they shipped it to their US warehouse to then ship it here. And I think that took a heck of a lot longer to get here. So I don't know why they had to do it that way, but this is the Fiber Company Amble. It is a fingering weight wool. Let me see if it says 70% wool, 20% alpaca, 10% nylon. Okay, doesn't say what kind of wool, but the color is called Blackback. It's not black, it's basically an extremely dark teal. So it's basically the darkest shade of teal possible. Excuse me. So that's basically what it is. I got, excuse the rustling, I have it in a bag here. Yeah, so I got 3 skeins plus a mini skein of it because that's what I needed for my project. Because these skeins only have 355 yards, so that's how come I need to get a mini skein too. Because 355 is kind of a odd yardage for a fingering weight yarn, so I had to get a mini to go with. But the only thing is the mini is a different dye lot than the other 3, but that doesn't bother me because you can't really tell. So yeah. And that is my main color for the Quadrangle Spires by Stephen West, which if you watched my Vloguary series last year, you might remember my trip to Flax and Fleece, which involved me buying all these different skeins of crazy yarn. Here, I'll grab all 6 of them out of the bag. This is my main color to go with that. Yeah, I know, I finally got my main color. But yeah, here's the 6 skeins of crazy yarn that you would have seen me get about a year ago. Not quite a year ago yet, but I will be going to Flax and Fleece again when I visit my grandparents this year. So I'll be discussing that in Vloguary, and then probably in my January or episode 4 podcast or whatever. But yeah, so that all goes together for Quadrangle Spires by Stephen West. Here's the rustling. I have it in a Target Dry Butt bag. It's the first bag I could find to stick it in. I have one final acquisition, and then this is kind of a short episode, but yeah. So here's my final acquisition. This is Rowan Kid Classic. This is in color number 00828. I'm blanking on the name of it because they do have names, they just don't put them on the labels. And then this one is 00831. And let me see how many skeins I got of each of them. 6 skeins of this cream color. And 4 skeins of this charcoal color. Again, the charcoal is 00831. And the cream is 00828. So, yeah, and here's all of it. And I ordered this online from Wool & Company. And this is my yarn to knit the Zebra Sweater by Arnie and Carlos. So yeah, that's what that's going to be, the Zebra Sweater by Arnie and Carlos. I probably won't cast it on until February or March, but that's going to be a leave me alone, I'm knitting kind of project because it's a lot of intarsia. And so that's going to be a project I work on at home exclusively, and so I'll have another easier project for when I'm not home and I'm going places. So yeah. So I know I told you guys I was going to start my grandma's cardigan. That didn't happen. So hopefully she'll have it by Mother's Day, but I'm trying to get behind the idea of knitting a bottom-up piece-together cardigan when I've never done anything pieced together before, so yeah. Okay, I just realized I have another whip sitting here that I forgot to show you guys, so I'm going to show that to you real quick, as well as one more acquisition. So my final acquisition is this project bag. I got this at the Como Zoo. And the Como Zoo is in St. Paul, Minnesota. You've probably heard me talk about them before because I got 3 zebra bags there so far. But yeah, I got this there. Anyways, my whip that is in here is probably the most Christmassy whip I have currently. This is the Northlight Poncholini by Stephen B. Anyways, I am not using yarn. I'm using string. It's like, how do I describe this? Here, I'll show you an unopened thing of it. I bought this a little over a year ago, maybe last October. I got it at Home Goods. It's this Martha Stewart decorative ribbon. I assume it's cotton, but it doesn't say. But it's kind of shiny and metallic. And I'm pretty sure its sole purpose is decorating Christmas gifts. So, I believe that's why it was created. But anyways, it just comes off with a spool like this. So, yeah, I've got 2 little ones and a big one of the same stuff. It's the same stuff, but it's just a bigger yardage. So that's my final whip that I forgot to show you guys, as well as my new project bag. So yeah, I'm not even through one repeat of the pattern yet, but here it is. So I might have that done next time I see you guys. I might not. We'll see. But that was the other whip I forgot to show you guys. So, alright. So anyways, that's everything. You've seen all my whips, all my acquisitions, all my FOs for now. So, yeah. I'm Andrew. Thank you for checking in here at the Neon Knitter, and I'll see you in the next episode.